Today is Friday, July 29th. We'll explain the latest economic data that has even the experts disagreeing about whether or not we're in a recession. And what's in the bill that's meant to help America compete with China? It overwhelmingly passed Congress. Also, devastating flooding in Kentucky this time, the impact so far, and what help is on the way. Plus, how JetBlue's deal to buy Spirit might affect travelers. What to know about one of the largest music festivals in the world this weekend. And the Mega Millions jackpot has hit more than $1 billion. Those stories and more news to know next. Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. Well, another part of the country is dealing with devastating widespread flooding. This time, torrential rains unleashed floods in Kentucky, as well as parts of Virginia and West Virginia. At least 8 people have died in Kentucky alone. And the state's governor says he expects the death toll to rise to the triple digits, since several others are missing or trapped. Governor Andy Beshear called this, quote, one of the worst, most devastating flooding events in Kentucky's history. He told NBC News the storm has wiped out hundreds of homes and roads are still underwater. People have been waiting on their roofs or in trees until first responders can get them. But thankfully, help is on the way. Rescue crews from around Kentucky and other states have been going around in helicopters and boats, trying to get to as many people as possible while even more rain falls. This all comes from the same storm that caused historic flooding in the St. Louis, Missouri area earlier this week. But this isn't common for either part of the country. As the Washington Post explains, flooding events like these have a less than 1 in 1,000 chance of happening in any given year. The governors of both Missouri and Kentucky issued disaster declarations so people can get financial assistance right away. Kentucky also set up a relief fund so people all around the country can help out. So, are we or are we not in a recession? The latest economic data came out yesterday, leading different experts to different conclusions about what it all means. But one thing everyone can agree on, the U.S. economy is shrinking. The GDP is basically the total value of goods and services a country produces. And the latest report from the federal government shows the American GDP fell at an annual rate of 0.9% between April and June. That comes after a 1.6% drop earlier this year. Many economists say that's it. Now that we've had 2 quarters of a shrinking GDP, it's clear the U.S. is in a recession. But others say it would take more than that. That since the unemployment rate is still low, wages are going up, and industrial production is still strong, the U.S. is not in a recession, at least not yet. Terminology aside, this is what we know for sure from the latest report. Consumers are not ramping up spending like they were last year. Businesses are pausing investments, and the housing market is slumping. So what does this economic downturn mean for everyday Americans? Well, if things continue like this, experts say the job market will eventually follow suit, making it harder to find work. Also, news of even a possible recession impacts any money you might have invested in the stock market. And getting a loan could become more difficult. But there may be ways to make the most out of the economic downturn. A financial journalist explained how you might be able to take advantage of the situation in one of our recent special edition Saturday episodes. We'll link to that interview in today's episode notes. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and other American lawmakers are headed to Asia today. Sources confirm the trip to Bloomberg News and other outlets, saying they'll go to Japan, South Korea, Malaysia, and Singapore. And there are talks the lawmakers might make a stop in Taiwan, despite warnings from Chinese leaders. Americans have been worried about Taiwan for a while now, because even though it's a self-governed island, China sees it as being under its control. So there are fears China could do to Taiwan what Russia did to Ukraine, invade. The Biden administration has already promised to protect Taiwan from such a scenario. But China still doesn't like the idea of a top American official like Pelosi going to Taiwan. And if she does, China says it will respond with strong measures. U.S. military officials have even warned that having an American leader go to Taiwan is not a good idea right now. For now, that part of the lawmakers' Asia trip is tentative. The U.S. Congress just passed a bill to help America better compete with China. It'll boost manufacturing of essential computer chips here on U.S. soil. That could make a big impact, since these days, semiconductor chips are used in cars, electronics like gaming systems and laptops, washing machines, and a lot more. And over the last few decades, semiconductor factories and jobs have gone overseas, mostly to China. Well, this bill could change that. It gives nearly $53 billion in funding for semiconductor chip production. Manufacturers will get that money to build plants here in the United States. Another $200 billion is going to scientific research. And lawmakers say all of this is not just about competing with China. They say it'll help prevent future supply chain crises and make a lot of tech products cheaper for Americans. The bill overwhelmingly passed in both the House and the Senate, and President Biden says he plans to sign it soon. All right, we have more news for you still ahead. But first, a quick break for our sponsor, Indeed. No one knows exactly what tomorrow's headlines will be, except for the people who shape them. Well, in business, if you want to make a positive impact for tomorrow, you need to hire great people fast. You need Indeed. With Indeed, you can find great talent faster through time-saving tools like Indeed Instant Match, assessments, and virtual interviews. And there's data to show why it's a great hiring partner. Talent Nest found that Indeed delivers 4 times more hires than all other job sites combined, and that it's the #1 source of hires in the United States. ComScore found that 81% of U.S. online job seekers search for jobs on Indeed each month. Plus, when you sponsor an Indeed post, you're 4.5 times more likely to get a hire, according to Indeed's data worldwide. Indeed is doing something no other job site has done. Now with Indeed, businesses only pay for quality applications matching the sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/newsworthy to start hiring now. Just go to Indeed.com/newsworthy. Indeed.com/newsworthy. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Americans will soon be able to get new updated COVID-19 booster shots. The New York Times cites sources who say there will be a new booster campaign rolling out in September. And this time around, the vaccines will be specially designed to fight the Omicron variant of COVID-19, including the BA.5 subvariant that's most dominant. So far, only Americans 50 and older, or certain people with immune deficiencies, have been able to get a second booster. But they've just been getting another dose of the same formula from before. Well, the Times says everyone else will not be getting a second dose of the old booster. Instead, their only second booster option will be whether they want the updated Pfizer shot or updated Moderna shot. All adults are expected to be eligible in September, and kids could be too. We'll let you know when there's an official announcement. An agreement has been reached now for JetBlue to acquire Spirit Airlines and become the 5th largest airline in the United States. As we've been reporting, this has been a months-long fight. JetBlue essentially snatched Spirit away from a deal to merge with Frontier Airlines and convinced Spirit shareholders to support the JetBlue deal instead. Now, JetBlue still needs approval from federal regulators to complete the deal, and there have been some questions about whether it'll ultimately be allowed. But if the deal gets the go-ahead, what will this mean for travelers? Will JetBlue get rid of Spirit's cheap tickets, fees, and yellow planes? It's not 100% clear yet. The Wall Street Journal reports JetBlue has said it plans to take seats off Spirit's planes as it transitions them to JetBlue's roomier model. And fewer seats usually mean higher ticket prices. No matter what, don't expect anything to change overnight. If given regulatory approval, this deal still might not finalize until 2024. And until then, the airlines will continue going about their business independently. Employees at a Trader Joe's store in Massachusetts voted to unionize, turning that supermarket into the only one of the company's more than 500 locations to have a formal union, though other votes are reportedly in the works. The store is in Hadley, Massachusetts, about 80 miles west of Boston. A statement from the union, Trader Joe's United, called it historic and said their members will celebrate now and be ready to negotiate tomorrow. A Trader Joe's spokesperson responded, saying the company is prepared to start talks, but already has some of the best pay, benefits, and working conditions in the grocery store business. This is just the latest vote in what seems to be a trend for employees at major companies across the country. Workers at some Starbucks, Apple, Amazon, and REI stores, for example, have also joined unions in the past year. Thousands of music fans from around the world are coming together in downtown Chicago for one of the largest music festivals in the world. It's time for Lalopalooza. It kicked off yesterday, and about 100,000 people are expected to attend the festival each day. They'll have a lot to see, too, since more than 170 performers will be there, including Green Day, Metallica, Machine Gun Kelly, Doja Cat, J. Cole, Dua Lipa, and many, many more. Tickets are still available, but even if you're not in Chicago this weekend, you can still watch the performances from home. This year, Hulu is streaming the festival, and if you have a subscription, it's free. The Mega Millions jackpot is up again, and this time it's surpassed $1 billion, marking only the third time the jackpot has ever been 10 figures. The next drawing will be the 13th in the current jackpot run, which started back in April. The jackpot just keeps getting bigger until there's at least one winner. Of course, your odds are still slim. And be careful of possible scams. The lottery has warned that scammers send official-looking and sounding emails, texts, or calls, but they're not real. And there's never a fee to claim a real lottery prize. The next drawing for the actual grand prize is tonight. If you have a ticket, good luck. That's it for the main news today, so now it's time for Feel Good Friday, when we bring you one extra feel-good or positive news story before the weekend. But first, a quick break for our sponsor. You might imagine that as a journalist and a reporter, I'm the type of person that does a lot of research and asks a lot of questions in all areas of my life. So when I choose a doctor, I need one who is willing to take the time to answer all of my questions. Of course, I also need one who takes my health insurance. Well, ZocDoc makes it easy to find quality doctors in your network and in your neighborhood. Plus, with real verified patient reviews, it can help find the right doctor for you, one that meets your requirements, whether that's taking the time to answer your questions or having the right type of experience or both. ZocDoc is a free app that shows you doctors who are patient-reviewed, take your insurance, and are available when you need them. Every month, millions of people use ZocDoc, and it's one of my go-tos whenever I'm in need of a new doctor. Go to ZocDoc.com/newsworthy and download the ZocDoc app for free. Then start your search for a top-rated doctor today. Many are available within 24 hours. That's ZocDoc, ZocDoc.com/newsworthy. Now back to Feel Good Friday. The world's largest vertical farm just opened up in Dubai, and it could serve as a good example for others like it, since it uses 95% less water than traditional farming methods. Also, there are no pesticides, herbicides, or other chemicals used. Vertical farmers apparently don't need them since they work in a controlled environment. The new facility automatically tracks and adjusts lighting, humidity, nutrients, and other factors to boost plant growth. Overall, it's 330,000 square feet, stacked with shelves of lettuce, spinach, arugula, and more. It can produce more than 2 million pounds of leafy greens a year. That's especially exciting for people in Dubai, since the city normally gets 90% of its produce from other countries. An American-based company called Crop One was behind this project. Its CEO says this new facility serves as a model for what's possible around the globe. Crop One already has a vertical farm up and running in Massachusetts. Other U.S. startups have plans to expand, too. As Fast Company reports, the vertical farming industry may grow to $9.7 billion over the next 4 years. All right, we will be back tomorrow with our special edition Saturday episode. We're doing a fun one, comparing the top video streaming services and talking about the business behind them. Then join us again Monday for your next news roundup. For now, thank you so much for listening and have a great weekend.